I'm being honest with you about what it's like to have an eating disorder, it would be this. I would tell you that I'm trying to scrape the little pieces of myself I have left out of my soul. That every poem I write is a plea to be a piece of the mosaic I desperately want to be a part of. When I go to bed at night, I tuck myself into tear-stained satin sheets, outlining my dreams with portraits of the people I wish I could be when people look at me. I can tell they think I have it all together, when really, I am just barely holding on. If I were to describe to you what it's like for me to have an eating disorder, I would tell you that it feels like you're carrying the weight of someone else's backpack, a baggage full of homework that you were never meant to do. See, eating disorders are usually passed down to us by the people we love, or the people we don't, willingly or unwillingly. And on the days I decide to take the backpack off, you will see the words "help me" etched into my skin with blood that's not even mine. And on the days I decide to study it, I will be reminded that even the simplest of word problems still don't make sense to me. Food plus body equals healthy still doesn't make sense to me, and the rejection will return, hitting harder this time if I were to describe to you what it's like for me to have an eating disorder. I would tell you that I am ashamed for all the times I woke up in my bed with a dirty spoon lying next to me, for all the shame I feel for being so fucking shitty at anorexia that I wish I could just go a whole day without eating, that instead of congratulating myself for reaching for food, I hate myself for not being able to be strong enough to starve. If I'm being completely honest with you about what it's like for me to have an eating disorder, I would tell you, I wish I could be the girl who could eat a muffin in public without fearing that every crumb dropped is an atomic bomb on my soul, and that the uncrinkling of the wrapping paper won't ring in the ears of everybody else's judgment, that the disruption won't be so loud that I will be exiled out of my own country. If I'm being honest with you about what it's like for me to have an eating disorder and how it affects the rest of my relationships, I would tell you that I am simply too afraid to love. That when I think about our relationship, I think about the fact that we had sex and I'm still afraid to change in front of you. That when I get out of the shower, I am still afraid for you to see my naked body. That I wish I could give you that sexy, fierce adulteress I know that you have so righteously earned. Sometimes, when I look in the mirror, disappointment sinks into my skin so quick that I drown before I even give you a chance to save me. I am sorry for asking you to save me and then not letting you back in. I have never learned how to love something so strongly with these two hands. If I am being honest with you about what it's like to have an eating disorder, when I wake up in the morning and I am feeling up and down this body, I am making sure that I am still something people will want to consume that day. That if I cannot detect my ribs while laying down and my stomach doesn't lay flatter than my chest, that I am simply not worth getting up. I think about all the ways that I can starve myself enough to the point where people will still want to hold me without feeling the weight of me is dragging them down. I never want to be too much for people. One time in rehab, one of the doctors pointed out to me that I should start becoming aware of all the times that I body check throughout the day. What I didn't realize is that when you start to become aware of your own inconsistencies, you start seeing them everywhere. When one of the mental health technicians got up from her seat to see what I was eating, I saw her reach for the inside of her thighs. I realized the gap between us isn't so big after all, and that just because you are skinny does not mean that you are happy. At least my thighs are not afraid to touch. It's the only part of my body that isn't afraid to hold itself. But I am sorry that you suffer too. I am sorry it is not more common to see healthy role models of women nourishing themselves, their emotional, spiritual, and physical bodies. I am sorry we were never taught how to feed ourselves, only how to be consumed. I am sorry that I cannot see you because I am too busy looking at me. If I'm being honest with you about what it's like to have an eating disorder, it would be this. I would tell you that I still have no idea what the fuck I am doing.